Okay. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. Let's get that old banner up. Got a lot of work to get through in a short space of time, people. Right. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section and smash the like button. Let's get into this investigation of Daniel Dubois versus Joyce. The fight that the boxing world, particularly in the UK, wanted to see. And I've been telling you for months how this fight would end up. And I kept giving you the example of Gary Mason against Lennox Lewis. Over and over and over again, I spoke about Gary Mason versus Lennox Lewis. Over and over and over. Cameron says, good morning, Cameron. I picked Joyce. Didn't think Dubois was any good. Just beat up a bunch of scrubs and people assumed he could beat a top level heavyweight. Yeah, well, we can go deeper into this. Over and over and over and over and over again, I kept banging on about Lennox Lewis and Gary Mason. Lennox Lewis and Gary Mason. And people keep asking me why I keep talking about history. History, people, is the best knower. It's the best knower. If you don't know your history, it's very difficult for you to know where you're going. And in this sport of boxing, there's something called boxing gods. And very few times do the boxing gods and what happens in history in the past change. Look, we've seen this before. When O'Hara Dave was knocking a whole lot of people out and he came against Josh Taylor. We saw when Coley fought Isaac Chamberlain. People talk about the Audley Harrison career, right? You'd think I'd be a little bit more informed than a lot of the people out there that sit behind keyboards and go, the Audley Harrison career. The Audley Harrison career, people don't take into consideration Audley Harrison's career in terms of what he actually gave to British boxing. Audley Harrison was managed by my cousin, Hazel Bruno Gilbert. Was managed by her, right? Up to the point where she left Audley, and Audley ended up, the next fight lost to Danny Williams. Up to that point, Audley was an undefeated heavyweight. People forget about Audley Harrison and that £1 million deal that he got from the BBC. That if it was by any other promoter that had got that deal by the BBC, it wouldn't have been a problem. But Audley had a fight, not just with the fighters in the ring, but he had a fight outside the ring with the promoters. And a lot of people don't want to listen to that. They don't want to hear that. They just want to hear the narrative, oh, Audley wasn't very good. Audley had a fight outside the ring. Audley was the guy that said, you know what? I don't want promoters taking a percentage out of my money. I'll do the promotions. I don't need a promoter. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to self-promote. Since Audley Harrison, we've had Mayweather promotions, we've had Hamid promotions, we've had Hatton promotions, we've had Kawasaki promotions. Audley Harrison paved the way for that. But Audley wasn't very good. Audley cut corners. But Audley could have been very good, but he cut corners. But I'm not here to bang on about Audley Harrison. But sometimes, just sometimes, when we talk about the Olympics, people bring up the Audley Harrison story. Sometimes they bring up the Tillman story, the Henry Tillman, how Henry Tillman beat Tyson in the amateurs. Tillman got knocked out by Tyson in a round or two in the pros. Sometimes that happens, but for the most part, the form guide is pretty good. When I talked about Lennox Lewis against Gary Mason was a puncher. He had won the ABAs. He was 35-0, and then it was Lennox Lewis. He was an Olympic champion. He had an Olympic pedigree. He did well as an amateur, the established amateur career. And what happened? Lennox Lewis ends up stopping. Lennox Lewis ends up stopping Gary Mason. Did you all see how Dubois got stopped last night? Did you see how Dubois got stopped last night? Dubois got stopped in a similar fashion to Gary Mason. The eye. The eye. Look at the way that fight ended. And what was on the line that night? British, Commonwealth, and European. That night, I think British, British, Commonwealth, and European. I think on that night, was it all British and European? It might have been the British and European title actually, because Lennox was the European title champion, and Gary Mason was the British champion. And at the time, Gary Mason was ranked 4th in the world and was next in line for a world title shot, much like Daniel Dubois. But let me tell you something about boxing, right? We keep being served up these fights over and over and over again, but the narrative is exactly the same. Expecting a guy that hasn't got the experience or the capability or even been there to beat a guy that's been there and done it. Tried, tested, and proven versus the unknown. It seems there's a narrative in boxing that let's just go with the guy with the unknown rather than the guy that actually has done the business. Let's just go with the guy who hasn't got the credentials versus the guy that's got the credentials. Let's just go with the guy who's never flown a plane before or has just been doing simulations of flying a plane versus a guy who's been flying planes for the last 20 years. You wouldn't do that with your doctor, would you? You wouldn't. You'd be more. You'd trust a doctor that's been in the game a much longer than a guy who's just just going through medical school and practicing. You'll trust a guy that's been around a lot longer. People like tried and tested, but it seems in boxing, tried and tested doesn't necessarily mean that you should back the person that's tried and tested. Joyce had been the tried and tested guy. He'd done it in the amateurs. He was doing it in the pros. Dubois had fought nobody in the amateurs, right? But suddenly, Dubois was this huge, monstrous puncher that was going to go out and blow Joyce out of there. Now, a lot of the people who push these narratives in boxing, you watch them the night before, Dubois is going to win by knockout. Dubois is going to do this. Dubois is going to do that. Over on Twitter, particularly on Twitter, right? And then what happens is, when the fight is over, the narrative starts to spin. I start to spin things. Oh, Dubois was too young. Oh, Dubois, you hadn't fought anybody. Well, this was always the case from day one. You hadn't fought nobody from day one. And then on the night, people expected the guy to perform. Yet you were given the evidence, you were given the research. I'd done a lot of research into this fight. I knew that he sparred Serenko. I knew Dubois sparred Serenko, and I knew at the time that Joyce had sparred Serenko. And this was a time when Bermain Stavone was preparing to face Wilder for the second time. It was around that time because I set the sparring up for Stavone, right? With Uncle James Ali Bashir, and as Stavone had done some work with Serenko as well. That was also the time that Ruben Visser was in camp as well. So I'd done my research. Do you understand? So I'd done my research. So at this point in time, I'm gonna have my say, and all the smart asses can come out afterwards and say what they want to say afterwards. I'd done my research. I'd done the work. I'd listened to what happened to Dubois in sparring. I heard that Dubois in sparring was getting beat up in sparring by Alexander Povetkin, not by Serenko. I heard he got beat up in sparring by Povetkin, and I heard that it was okay when Dubois was dishing out the punishment, but when the punishment was being thrown back at Dubois, he didn't want to know, and he was looking for a way out in sparring. I also followed up by doing a video, I think a day before the fight, talking about sparring rumors and stories. I was warning you guys leading up to this fight. I was laying it out. I even redid the video with Serenko talking about Joyce and Dubois months before the fight. But you all were spinning another narrative. Tried and tested versus the unknown. hoping something that was going to happen overnight, right? Dubois had not been fighting world class opposition. Joyce was fighting world class opposition. You know, when you talk about, oh, you was getting hit by Bermain Stavern, Stavern was a world champion. You can disrespect Stavern all you want to the cows come home. But now when you look at Stavern's performance against Joyce, it don't look so bad for a guy that was out of shape. It didn't look so bad. Do you know what I mean? And Joyce was beating Dubois to jab. He was hitting 3, 4 jabs. And all these people said, oh, Joyce is slow. Joyce is this. Joyce is that. Hey, listen. Joyce was beating the faster Dubois to the jab. You can't um you can't beat timing, distance, experience. When Joyce got hit with big shots, he knew what to do because he'd been there before. He'd been there in sparring. He'd been there in fights where he'd been not, if not hurt, shaken. You know that stuff where you're punching with the ball and doing that on the ball. That's hand-eye coordination. And those shots, that a lot of those shots Dubois was landing on Joyce. Joyce was turning his head at the last minute, or he was riding the shot and catching it with his shoulder. That's very good. So all these people saying, "Oh, Joyce was getting hit with big flush shots," he was actually riding the shots very well, and that's testament to Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is ready for a world title shot tomorrow, and I have no doubt about Joe Joyce as a heavyweight. I have no doubt Joe Joyce is a world class operator. I made a good little bit of money last night as well. Joe Joyce is a world class operator, and it tells you something that all these writers and all these people that were picking Dubois, they picked Dubois. Those who work for BT had to do it, right, because they had to balance things out. But for a lot of them who were picking Daniel Dubois, they don't know shit about boxing. How are you going to put an unknown guy who's just a big guy who threw punches? And nobody did their research. Nobody went and I didn't hear anybody talk about the sparring stories of Daniel Dubois. I didn't hear nobody talk about the sparring stories between Serenko and Dubois. I didn't hear nobody talk about that. Nobody related the Serenko sparring with Joyce and Dubois. I did the footwork. I did the homework, right? I did the homework. So if you don't want to give me credit for it, that's your top. That's up to you. But you do your homework when you talk about big fights. Yeah, there are fights that get wrong. We all get fights wrong. But when I was presenting it to you over and over and over again, and then giving you analogies with bringing you Lennox Lewis and Gary Mason, right? So now, first of all, let's talk about Joe Joyce, the winner. Where does he go from here? Well, if he leaves Frank Warren, Sam Jones, I beg you, don't go to Matchroom. Matchroom hasn't proven that they can take something that's already established and do something good with it. What has Matchroom actually done with established fighters? Look at the amount of established fighters that have come from go to Matchroom or DAZN. Ruined them. Ruin them. You need to take yourself and go either Joe Joyce needs to go one or two places. He needs to go to top rank and work with Aaron, right? Or he needs to go and work with Al Heyman. One of the two. One of the two. But don't go to Eddie, because Eddie's going to protect his boy Joshua. Or you might go with Usyk, but he can make that. You can get the Usyk fight done anyway because now you're mandatory. You're the next in line. You're calling the shots now. So it's either Joshua's going to vacate, depending on is he going to vacate? What's going to happen? So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Joshua and Pulev, right? We have to wait. We'll have to wait and see how that works out. But you just can't ignore the fact that Joe Joyce was an Olympic, well, as far as I'm concerned, should have been a gold medalist. How can you look in the face of a gold medalist and ignore those facts over a guy who hadn't even fought and won anything remotely close as an amateur? Had fought nobody as a pro. So, he's able to, but the thing is, his eye was shut. And again, So I think that Joe Joyce needs to side with some. I would like to see Joe Joyce go on ESPN. I really would like to see Joe Joyce go on ESPN. I think it's unlikely that Joyce will fight Tyson Fury, and there's more of a chance in fighting Usyk. So I think he should go ESPN because he'll get much more. Joe Joyce is a world class fighter, and if he were to go to Matchroom, he's good enough to go to Matchroom. Because whether they told him, if they stick him in tomorrow and say, right, you got to fight this guy, Joe Joyce can fight any of the top heavyweights. And I have no doubts about any of them. And any of the people that are like Carl Frampton last night was going, oh, I didn't pick Joe Joyce. I picked Dubois to beat Joe Joyce. Oh, but he beat Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce beat Dubois. But at the end of the day, I won't pick him against. Like, shut up, Frampton. You didn't get it right. You didn't get it right. You thought that somebody, Dubois, a guy that basically for a whole load of unknowns, right, was going to beat Joe Joyce. How the hell now you're going to turn around and then turn and say, oh yeah, I don't know whether Joe Joyce could beat. I tell you what, Joe Joyce could have the beating of Alexander Usyk. All this work rate nonsense talk about Alexander Usyk. I believe that Joe Joyce has got the ability to outwork Usyk. I don't think Usyk's going to get away with what he got away with in the amateurs. George Joyce is so much a better fighter now. Hits just as hard or even harder now, and he can outwork Usyk. You see how Usyk was tied against Chisora? I don't think Usyk beats Joe Joyce in 2021. Sorry, don't see it. I don't think Usyk's getting any better. He's getting hit more, and he doesn't really want to be getting hit by Joe Joyce. And Joe Joyce will hit Alexander Usyk. He will catch him, and he will hurt him. It you know, the thing is, what I don't understand, what I don't get is this: people want me to listen to what they've got to say after the event, after ignoring me for months. No, no, no. I'm gonna say my bit now. You all can talk afterwards. This is my little bit to shine in the limelight. So I'm gonna continue talking now about Daniel Dubois and his corner and his team. Right? I'd been taught. I told you about Daniel Dubois and his team. Right? They allowed Daniel Dubois round after round after round to get him punched in the eye. Right? They could have stopped that fight. They could have stopped that fight. Now that young man, when I saw that, I thought maybe it was a retina tear. But those who were in there saying, "Oh, Daniel Dubois quit," he was going to quit anyway. It so happened his eyes had swollen up. By about round 3 or round 4, he was going back to the corner, and Martin Bowles was having to G Daniel Dubois up because his big punch weren't working. That's because that's all they're working on. 1-2, 1-2. Daniel Dubois, I said before, he only had a 1-2, and when he runs out of it, after that, he's one-dimensional. He's got no other gear. He was fighting the same way all through the fight. All through the fight, he was doing the same old things. That's where you know you need to find a new trainer, and you need to take a whole different approach to boxing. I don't know whether Dubois got a ticker though. I don't know if he's the Tin Man or not. He may, but I don't think you can change certain mindsets. You know, you're scared of getting knocked out, scared of getting hurt, don't want to get hurt. Some people mentally, they switch out. You remember Andrew Galotta? Galotta was one of them type of guys that anytime he felt he was going to get beat up or he was going to get hurt. Remember when he fought Mike Tyson and he kind of fizzed out when he fought Mike Tyson with a big right hand, and then Galotta got up with it. No, I'm not coming out for the next round. He lost the plot. Or then when he fought Lennox Lewis, he froze against Lennox Lewis. You know? Oh my word. There we go. Daniel was well ahead. You had doubt yourself. Daniel was not. Oh no, I can't listen to that. I'm sorry, mate. I can't listen to that today. I'm sorry. You don't get lucky in boxing, mate. And if you're sitting here now telling me I got lucky in boxing, right, mate, then I'm sorry. I can't. You want me to listen to that narrative, mate? I'm sorry. Lost completely lost all sense of respect for you now, bro. Sorry, I can't listen to you again after that. Sorry. There are people that listen to narratives for a while, and then when a person then turns on afterwards, after I've done the research, and then tells me I'm lucky, nah, bro, you've lost all respect, bro. When it comes to boxing, me and you don't talk boxing no more. I'm sorry. I want to talk to people that watch the fight, and can see things and say, okay, Dubois was looking for a way out. It so happened his eye was swollen. But from round 3 or 4, you could see Dubois was looking demoralised. And you could see him in the corner and his trainer having a word with him. Bro, but anyway, let me move on. Let me talk. Let's see some sensible talk in the house today. They're calculating wrong, but AJ tried and tested before he fought Klitschko. No. But the fact of the matter is, Klitschko had been off the couch, was out the couch for 2 years. Don't use that. Please don't use that Klitschko story. Don't spin it because Tyson Fury beat him 2 years earlier. Don't use that Klitschko story. Please don't. There's always somebody who tries to be a smart ass in the room. Always trying to be a smart ass in the room. All the Skybots coming out on Twitter saying Dubois quit, yet they're very quiet after Brook versus Spence or Allen versus Price. Yeah, that's the narratives in it. But you've got to understand. I told you, boxing media for the most part is bought and corrupted. That's what it is. Just follow these people, who they're connected to, and you'll see what their things say. Let's get some sensible comments in the house. Joyce has been fighting world-class opposition almost as long as Dubois has been boxing. Bro, lots of people were picking Joyce. It's the bookies that got it majorly wrong. I know a lot of people that made good money last night, including myself. You don't get Olympic silver medal, should have been gold for nothing. Well, I've been saying it beforehand. Speak these narratives before the fight. And clearly, Dubois did a Kell Brook. Frank was kind of shameless, didn't even hide his displeasure in the post-fight interview. Hopefully, there's no long-lasting nerve damage for the young Daniel. Well, who knows? If that is the case, then he looks directly at his corner because they allowed him to get hit round after round after round after round on that eye. And at no point, I thought, you know what, mate, fight another day. You're not winning this fight. So sparring stories. Oh my dear, it wasn't irrelevant. There we go. Oh, no, I'm not even gonna follow that up. "23-year-old who was put in a level he wasn't ready for." Yep, let's skip this next comment here. Let's find somebody who wants to talk some sense to the room. He ain't no killer now. He's food now. I agree. Dubois look like he ran out of ideas. True. I think there's levels. Mine. I couldn't see him beating Joshua Fury. Nor could I. Try keeping Juggernaut off for 12 rounds with small gloves. I did say that. If Dubois couldn't get rid of Joyce, I doubt any of them can. Eye and chin. Yeah, oh yeah. Joe made Dubois quit with a jab. Then madman. Makes him some fighter. Can somebody put this guy in timeout? No, I wouldn't waste my time with him. Just let him talk. Daniel Dubois did Lucas Matisse. Once he got punched in the eye, he started to go quickly downhill. Once he started getting punched back, once he started getting hit back, like I said to a lot of people, it's all right, well and good with highlight reels, knocking guys over. But when you start getting hit back in boxing, it's a different matter altogether. When you start getting hit face, it's another matter altogether. Let's see some other comments in the room. Joyce Usyk is a good fight. Yeah, it is a good fight. I think it's a very good fight. Yoka called that Joyce rematch. That's a good fight. Yoka didn't look all too impressive versus Hamer, benching his hand again. Apparently, yeah. Joyce Ortiz. No, I don't want to see that fight. Joyce will knock Ortiz out. Joyce will knock Ortiz out. Joyce will knock Ortiz out. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Joyce walks through Ortiz. He walks straight through Ortiz. You got to understand skill levels. Joyce will walk through Ortiz. He'll knock Ortiz out, and everyone will say Ortiz is, oh man, that's a poor fight. And Joyce now is ready for a world title fight. I'm sorry, he doesn't need to fight anybody else right now for a world title fight. Joyce Ruiz. Why do you want to see? Why do you want to fight Andy Ruiz for? Clearly, mate. Why the hell do you? Why do you want to? Why do you want that fight? Now it's about Joyce getting a world title shot. That's all I'm interested in now. He doesn't need to fight no European champion, no European fight. He doesn't need to fight no British level fight. World title fight. Next fight. That's what Joyce needs to be fighting for now. I'd stick him in the ring with Tyson Fury and have no problems. I believe that Joyce has got the ability to outwork Fury. If there's anyone in the world that can outwork Tyson Fury, it's Joe Joyce. Oh yeah, but Tyson outboxed him, yeah? Okay. Sit there. Joyce has got the work rate to outwork Tyson Fury. Yeah, if Tyson's got the hand speed and he can move around the ring a bit, but he's not. Joyce ain't going nowhere. And Joyce should just keep it on Tyson, keep following Tyson, and keep chasing Tyson around the ring all around for 12 rounds. And if Otto Volume calls him them problems, I'm telling you now, Joyce is the beating of Tyson Fury. Say what you want. I believe Joyce has got the beating of Tyson Fury. He's big. He's say 6'6". He's big. He's strong. He's powerful. He's durable. He's got Olympic type boxing ability. I mean, a gold boxing ability. So he's one of the few guys that I think can beat Fury based on work rate, because work rate and pressure bursts pipes, right? And Joyce has got what it takes to make that pressure count. He'll work Tyson to the body. He'll work him to the head. He'll be able to get on the inside and fight from the outside. Yeah, Tyson may beat him to the jab and move around the ring. It's a 12-round fight. And I'm going to go with the guy who's always in condition, always in great shape. And you know, and out of the two guys who's got chins, Tyson's been on the deck a few times. So, I mean, I really would back Joyce. I really would back Joyce against Tyson Fury. I really would. I really would. Really would. In fact, I'd back him against any of the heavyweight champions. Him against Joshua, you know he chinned him in sparring already. So Joshua wants to avoid Joyce, because Joyce will catch Joshua on the chin. He'll hurt Joshua. And Fury, I'm telling you, Joyce can become heavyweight champion of the world. All three of them guys, Usyk, Joshua, and Fury, they all need to worry about Joe Joyce. They all need to worry about Joe Joyce. Oh, he's slow. Okay. Stay with it, he's slow. He wasn't slow. He was so slow, they was out jabbing the faster man, Daniel, the younger man, Daniel Dubois. Huh? Okay, stay there. Stay there believing that nonsense. Joyce Parker would be a good watch if Parker... No, forget that fight. Stop it, man. My only concern for Joyce is that he will have a short career on account of the mileage he's clocked on his chin early on. Yep, definitely. Who do you say Joyce fight? World title fight. Joshua or Fury? Or Usyk? Any of the three. Any of the top three now. World title fight. Doesn't need to fight anybody else. Joyce won't get a world title shot for at least a year. So, why? What, Cameron? If Joshua vacates WBO, what happens then? I mean, I don't know. We have to see what happens with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, because I think that fight's going to happen again. So that scuppers Joshua versus Fury in 2021. And Joshua's got to deal with Pulev, and I've said already, and I keep on saying it, I don't think he beats Pulev, but that's neither here. I've been banging that on for months, but that's another story for another day. Dubois showed his true colours last night. Had his heart broken by Joyce and showed he's a quitter. Joyce a nightmare for Femi. Joyce embarrassed Femi worse than Ruiz. Joyce will be avoided like the plague. Yeah, he will be avoided like a plague. Anybody who knows their boxing, Anybody who knows their boxing will say, Joe Joyce, I said it before, he's the British George Foreman. Nobody wants to listen to me when I'm saying it. I bet now the narrative's going to change. Oh yeah, he's like George Foreman. Joe Joyce is like the British George Foreman. I don't know where people are saying and glamorizing saying George Foreman was such a great fighter. George Foreman was slow and plodding. And he just stand there and just use a jab, and then hit with a big right hand. That's what George Foreman did. Why is George Foreman so great? Because he obviously had great fighters around at the time, Norton and Fraser, right? But you could say those guys were small heavyweights. Joyce is doing this against big heavyweights, strong heavyweights, Ustinov and Wallace, but they're not world class fighters. They're top class fighters. Do you understand? British George Foreman. I've said it, and I'll keep on saying it on this channel. Joe Joyce is the British George Foreman. If Pulev beats AJ, Fury might OD. Hey, listen. Let's see. Let's see if Fury don't have to. We've seen the narrative change already with Wilder and the Fury fight. So we might see Wilder Fury 3 in 2021. AJ's absolutely going to batter Pulev. The fight will show how much AJ's in. Oh my God. Oh dear. Yeah. All right, mate. We know where you're coming from. You're from the Sky Brigade, mate. You're from the lamestream media. Keep going. Joyce on the ring walk coming out to the Commodore's brick house. The guy just will not stop coming. Who can handle his pressure? There's nobody in the heavyweight division that can handle that pressure. Usyk can't handle that pressure. AJ can't handle that pressure. And Fury can't handle that pressure. That's the sort of pressure Fury needs to be under. That's the sort of guy that Fury needs to fight. A guy that's going to put pressure on him all the time, have a good chin, keep taking punches and keep coming forward and be able to land his own punches regularly. And Joyce has got that ability. Oh dear. Baylor ain't that happy as he thinks he's always right. Well, prove me wrong. We've got all the Sky bots coming out today. Why don't you all do yourselves a favour, mate? Why don't you all do yourselves a favour? Get yourselves, do yourselves, all these people making the comments. Why don't you all start your own channels and see how long you do with that? That'd be good to do. Instead of wasting time and energy building spam channels, do something good for yourself in 2021, yeah? Learn the lesson. Start your own channel. That'd be good. What, you think AJ's gonna win if you're from the Sky Brigade? Oh dear. You know, see you. I've got a great idea for you. There we go. There's one. Get rid of you. See what I mean? See, now you know the type of you know the type of people we've got in boxing. Wardley versus Joyce. Another one. Wardley's fought nobody as an amateur. How can you put Wardley in the ring with Joyce? Oh my God, bro, mate, right? It's more embarrassing, mate. I advise you just let's not talk boxing anymore, mate. Mate, just don't talk boxing, please. It's embarrassing. Joyce will be moving like Dubois around the heavyweight division, eating the belts. What belts, homie? Oh dear. Well, you were a Joyce fan from day one, yeah. Don't act like we haven't seen you switch sides from the operating fans who thought like you. Stop. Stop. On this channel, you saw me. I didn't rate Joyce, and then I studied him. I did my research, Joyce more. I said, you know what? No, this guy's pretty good. This place going places. I did my research, son. I did my research. So don't try and give it now and change the agenda, mate. Do yourself a favour. Do yourself a favour. Start your own channel and stop being a pain in the ass to my channel. Get lost. Just get lost. See you later. Bye bye. Next. Joyce walks through anyone Euro for 11 and below. I think so. Speaking of rematch room, good to hear Eddie Hearn, LOL, at the 8-round card from the judge. Smith ride anyone? Yeah. So, you know, some of these people don't want to give me credit, right? So I've got to listen to their narratives, but they can't listen to my narrative. Guess what? You're not welcome. Goodbye. Uh, that's how it is. Having a durable gym will benefit Joyce when coming in against heavyweights that will be taller than him in terms of Wilder, Fury, and so forth. Yeah, maybe so. But I think he's got boxing ability as well. He's got good boxing ability as well, and he takes his head off the line. I mean, Joyce got hit with some shots. I thought Joyce was going to get hit with more right hands than he did, actually cleanly, and he didn't, which was really good. So, you know, when people come on when people come on the channel and they come and attack me and say things like, "Oh, you didn't think Joyce was a good fighter in the beginning, but you do now." I'm open to change. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to look at a situation and go, "Nah, not he hasn't got it there." And then watch a guy evolve and get better. And you've got to remember, this guy was fighting. He was training with guys like Abel Sanchez and what's the other guy's name? This guy now, Ishmael Salas. So he was working with world class trainers, guys who've been around a long time. So of course Joyce's style evolved. I saw him taking step up fights. I saw when he fought Benjamin Stavern, right? I was there ringside. I did the ring work with Stavern. I watched Joyce and how he went about fighting Stavern. I watched how confident the man was. I said, you know what, this guy's going places. And then I saw the way when he fought against Bright Jennings. Said, right, Jennings is another guy who's going to fight at a fast pace. Jennings going to put pressure on Joyce. So I mean, I wasn't. There were a lot of things I liked about Joyce in the fight, but although I could see, and then I could see how Joyce was improving as a fighter. So when you start seeing different aspects of a fighter, you see them stepping up to the plate. Would you still say no? I don't like him because of my ego. No, 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 no. Say you're wrong. So you know what? I've got this guy wrong. I started calling him British George Foreman, and that was that. Let's keep going. Uh, what do you think Joyce would do with the likes of White, Delboy, Povetkin, and Wilder? I don't think he needs to worry about White, Delboy, or Povetkin. Povetkin, good fight. I think Joyce knocks Povetkin out. What is Povetkin going to do that Joyce hasn't seen before? Povetkin's a sucker for the jab, and Joyce can box. Povetkin's going to knock. He's not going to knock Joyce out. So Wilder's an interesting fight. Wilder's a very interesting fight. I saw Joyce moving out of the way of some of the big shots at times. So he does use his defense when it merits. Yes, he does. I don't want to see Joe Joyce in the ring with Daniel Dubois again because the stoppage might come faster. It was boy versus man in there. I'm telling you, boy versus man. Joyce head movement was decent this fight. It was Dubois that looked stiffer. Yep. Joyce managed distance pretty well. That's what happens when you got. Uh, that's what happens when you get Olympic pedigree. You know, you learn this space and timing. That's what it is. Look, that's science inside the ring. You know what I mean? That's not something you can learn about on a keyboard. It's really despicable how little credit Bermain gets as a heavyweight. You know, that's how it goes sometimes. You know. Ingram taking no prisoners. No, I'm not taking no prisoners anymore. I don't owe anybody really an explanation anymore. Enough. Joy's too big a beast for Povetkin. Trolls and little trolls better watch it. Ingram is making a list of IP addresses and checking them twice. They'll turn up at your door like Santa Claus coming to town. It's the same ones all the time. Same ones all the time. You know what I mean? Don't care for them. This is 2020. And I'm social distancing. I'm socially distancing myself from trolls. Trolls and people who just want to come on and have a go. Not interested in it. I'm not interested at all. I want to talk boxing. So If they don't like it, they can crack on. So yeah, so the narrative is what happens with Daniel Dubois now? Well, he can't fight for a British Commonwealth European because Joyce has got them all. If I'm Joe Joyce, I mean, I'd have felt embarrassed. Your promoter's sitting there talking about a rematch. Why would you want a rematch? Is that the best you can offer me? A rematch? Come on, bro. A rematch? Nah. Nah. You should have been talking about. You should have been. Frank should have been talking about that Usyk fight. He should have been talking Usyk fight up. Maybe Frank don't want to do business with Eddie. That might be what it is. But if I'm Joe Joyce, now, I leave Frank. Seriously, I leave Frank. And I go abroad. I'd like to see Joyce. I would like to see Joyce go to America. I really would. I'd like to see him with Aram. I really would. Aram or him fighting, maybe going with Al Heyman. That'd be really good, I think. Yeah, he got injured during that time, but who knows? Yeah, agree. Way too inactive. Yes. So Ingham, do you think Joyce will grind out competitive 12-round decisions against top heavyweights, or will he pull off KOs? Don't know. I don't know. But he's got the ability to work. If he's got the ability to outwork the top three heavyweights, Fury's work rate isn't as much as Joe Joyce. Usyk's work rate is decent, but it's not as good as Joe Joyce. And then you've got Joshua. No way is his work rate as good as Joe Joyce. So there's three fights there, top three fighters that Joyce has got a better work rate than. He's got a better chin than Fury and AJ. They've both been down. AJ's been knocked out. So the battle of the chins is going to be between Usyk and Joyce. That's going to be interesting. Sam Jones will be Joyce getting him to Matchroom. Yeah, Matchroom will get Joyce paid more, but he won't get him. If I'm Sam Jones, I tell him avoid Matchroom. Just look at the history of what Matchroom's done. Yeah, you're going to get a little bit more exposure. You'll get a little bit more exposure in Matchroom. Go and fight on ESPN, a proper network where all the Americans can watch you fight. Do what Lennox did. Go to America and finish building your career in America. Forget the UK. Go to America and build your career at that. And talk about money. And talk about exposure. That's what Joe Joyce needs. People need to see Joe Joyce on the big network now. Forget Sky. Go on a big network. Let people talk about Joyce. Do what get a fight. I'd like to see Joyce if he's not going to get a world title shot, I'd like to see Joyce get a showcase fight in America. Do what AJ didn't do. Cross the river. He did it against Joe Hanks. He fought in America against Joe Hanks. But let's see him fight against a guy in America, a showcase fight. If he's going to not fight, showcase fight in America, and then the big one against whoever it's going to be for the World Heavyweight Championship. But no, I don't want to see him in Matchroom fighting on some card. And no, I want to see Joe Joyce get the props he deserves and be managed properly. Tyson Fury never won the Olympic gold medal. Yeah, he beat Klitschko and yeah, he beat Wilder, but he never won the Olympic gold medal. So, or even a silver medal. So I think that Joyce needs to get that accolade. He really does. Didn't have good building for Wilder rematch. Then fought Joyce 18 months later without a fight. I know. Joyce under Al Heyman will be a good fit. It will sustain his career well. Yeah, probably would. Fish Eyes tried to use Joyce as insurance. Yeah, well. Warren too busy on Dubois' nuts, not realising we'll probably lose a future champion in Joyce now because of disrespect. Yep, absolutely. Joyce could break Joshua down. Well, because Frank probably felt at the end of the night, he put himself in a position, yeah, that, he was saying how Dubois is going to do this and that to Joyce. And of course, Sam Jones would have rubbed it right into Frank's face. And now Frank's got problems because Frank's going to get it in the ear about how he put a boy in too young. That's what's going to happen. They tried to act as if they were throwing Joyce to Dubois as food. They tried to do the same thing, throwing Danny Garcia to Amir Khan, and look what happened. Hearn will just put Joyce in with Chisora White. Pointless fight. So you can see that coming, can't you? Here we go. Joyce is a good engine, but his finishing is questionable. Yeah, this is why we won't be talking boxing anymore, my friend. Okay, if Joe Joyce goes to the US and has about 3 fights all in 2020, and where can he showcase himself? Americans will love that style. He'll be a household name. That's what I'm saying to you. He does better business in America than he does sticking around fighting in bloody O2 Arena against Derek Chisora and Dillian White. Forget that, man. Blockbuster fights. Chisora versus um Joyce for all the marbles. Why? 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 Joyce has finished every top heavyweight he's fought. Haha. Exactly. That's why I'm not talking with that. That's what I said. Madman, I'm not talking with him no more. I ain't talking boxing with him. This is the man that wants to put Fabio Wardley in the ring with Joe Joyce. It's like he didn't learn his lesson with Daniel Dubois. This is even worse. Fabio Wardley with Joe Joyce. Are you serious? You really get people really hurt in boxing. Right. I think I've said my point now. I've said my bit. In conclusion, Daniel Dubois and his career, he might never, ever, 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 ever come back after that, because we just don't know the state of his eye. You know, once you have problems with your eye, you're never the same fighter again. And if he gets popped in it again, who knows? He may resort to quitting again. You just don't know. So that young man needs a rest, a long rest, so he can get the eye to heal. And while he's getting his eye to heal, his ego to heal, he needs to have a proper trainer mentor. He needs to leave the Peacock gym, because enough is enough. They're not going to teach him anymore. And he needs to go to they've done a good job of him at this level, but they now need to take Dubois onto the next level. What sort of trainer could work with Dubois? Dubois needs like a father figure in his corner. I just thought Dubois was just like a sheep being led to slaughter. He just sounded like, yeah, I'm going to knock him out. And I, Frank, I'm going to knock him out. And I, Frank, yeah, Frank, you believe in me, Frank. I'm going to knock Joyce out. The guy he just seemed so wooden. It just seemed like whatever Frank said, Joyce was just repeating it. He doesn't have a personality of his own. So Dubois didn't have a personality of his own. Dubois needs to go away now, have a serious think about things, take a good look at himself with both eyes, take a real good look at himself, and go away and think to himself, how did I end up fighting Joe Joyce? How did I end up getting myself into this mix? Did I have to fight Joe Joyce? Why did I have to fight Joe Joyce? Could I have gone on and fought maybe Derek Chisora or maybe Dillian White? Could I have gone and fought somebody else? Could I have fought Dave Allen? Could I have fought someone in the top 10 that was not an Olympic gold medalist? Because that's exactly what Joe Joyce really is, an Olympic gold medalist. I know he's a silver medalist, but could I have, and why did they stick me in this fight? Yes, it made a bit of money. Look at my eye now. Look at my eye. So now, is Dubois going to learn the lesson that Kell Brook didn't learn? Lesson? Is he going to pull away from that? I'd pull away from the whole team. He's got a 5-year contract with Frank. So I'd say, Frank, listen, I don't want this trainer no more. Learn to some defense. Learn some other moves than just throwing a big right hand. Learn how to feint. Learn how to block punches. Learn how to use your head more. You know what I mean? Learn how to tight distance yourself in fights. All these things I would like to see Daniel Dubois working on moving forward. After I'll give credit where credit is due. He has a granite chin. Them punches he took would have stopped most heavyweights. But listen, At the end of the day, them right hands he was hitting, he was slipping them and getting him on the shoulder. Dubois has to rebuild, of course. Eddie has Joyce versus Babbage posters also already printed. Oh my god. I don't want to see that. Babbage, oh dear. Eye problems can cut your prime, Dubois, Brooke, and so forth. Yeah, can. No fan worth half your vision, Daniel. Made the right decision for himself. Yeah, absolutely. Big up BWTM. Love the banter. Keep jabbing, power. Yeah, same to you, bro. Possible trainer for Dubois. Virgil Hunter, no. Derek James, yes. These are not just trainers but mentors. That's what he needs. So I'd like to see work with Derek James. Derek James will not only mentor him, but he'll talk to him at a certain level. I love Derek James as a trainer. Always have loved Derek James as a trainer. And yeah, Derek James, I'd like to see work with James. Who else? Tommy Brooks. I'd like to see Dubois work with Tommy Brooks. Tommy Brooks was doing a lot of good stuff there with David Price. So Tommy Brooks would be good. An older father figure. Knows the trade. Harold the Shadow Knight. Not many people talk about him. How would he work as a trainer? Interesting. Ben Davison. No, absolutely no. What's Ben Davison done? What has Ben Davison actually done? Forget Ben Davison. No. Possible advisors for Dubois, Ingram. Keep your phone on and keep your pen ready for contracts. I believe 10% is your rate. Any plans for any more shows today? I don't know. Is there any more plans? I don't know. I got to get through my FIFA, man. I'm gonna get from my FIFA. I started. By the way, if you want to know, anybody wants to know something about Football Manager, I am doing my Football Manager series again. I started it the other day back on the BWTM gaming channel. So get across there when you get a chance. Look at my Football Manager. I'm doing that again over there. It's pretty decent. Why not Virgil? Why not Virgil Hunter? The boxing whisperer. No, forget him. Yeah, he'll teach Daniel defense, but that'll be it. Nah, he hasn't done anything. What has Virgil Hunter actually done outside of Andre Ward? Let me know. Brought Tyson back from the dead. Got Tyson into shape. Let's be clear there. Brought Tyson into shape. Got Tyson into shape. Worked with him. Yeah. No, but Daniel Dubois doesn't need to get into shape. Daniel Dubois needs boxing fundamentals. Let's go gaming today. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Hope you join me later on for that. Right, that's it, people. Thank you once again. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, and let's get out the next big fight, which is I believe Anthony Yard against King Arthur. That is going to be a great fight, and I still can't pick a winner. You know, my mind says Yard because obviously I'm connected to Yard and I've met him and I know his trainer Tunde Jai and I got massive love for Tunde Jai. But you know that King Arthur, he can fight. I've seen him pull out fights where he's been either behind or he's been rocked or he's been in trouble and he's come through that and won. I haven't seen Yard do that yet in a fight. So, and he's got a nice jab at him, King Arthur, man. And he looks very versatile. I think Yard can only fight one way. Good at what he does, very good at what he does. But can he beat King Arthur rather than can King Arthur beat Yard? I don't know. I think it's a great fight, fascinating fight. Have you ever thought of becoming a trainer, coach yourself? I have done some coaching before, boxing coaching before. So it's something I seriously want to be doing. And yeah, something I seriously want to be doing. And in the next 6 months, if it wasn't for this lockdown, I'd be far further. I'd be less on this keyboard and out there doing work. So yeah, I would definitely like to. I mean, the plan was for me to work with James Ali Bashir. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with Uncle Bashir. That was my plan, and that was our plan to work together. So yeah, absolutely. But I've been coaching for the last 20 years in sport. So yeah, 20 years I've been coaching in sport, and that's from the lowest level to the very highest level. So I'll definitely go into it and definitely take it on. Definitely, definitely, definitely. So I've got the old pads out ready to start again. So we'll see how it goes. Right. Thank you all so much. This has been, I love my trailer. I am in love with my trailer. I really do love my trailer. I mean, nobody's actually said anything about the trailer, but I love it. So I think I might just play it again before to end the show. May as well. Yeah, give it a plug. Let's go. Let's end the show. Let's do this. Why not? Give us a nice ending. Yeah. There you go. See you later. Whoa, 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 whoa. Go.